everybody, thanks for joining us and welcome to the 4th episode of Fight Like the Movies, the tutorial series where we study cinema's most epic fight scenes and employ what we discover to develop a deeper understanding of film combat. I'm your instructor TJ Cencula, and this week's lesson, 300, a 2006 film, directed by Zack Snyder, fight choreography and stunt coordination by Damon Caro. Roll it. When it comes to on-screen violence, a distinction needs to be made between realistic and believable. Is this style of fighting realistic? Of course not. It's well documented that the pillar of Spartan combat was the phalanx. They would use their shield to protect the person to their left and then cherry-pick the oncoming enemy with 12-foot spears. But when it comes to using violence to advance a plot, you can only look at this game of kerplunk so long before it starts to get boring and repetitive. The more important question is it believable? I would argue that in this stylized film adaptation, the work of the fight coordinators is perfectly in keeping with this heightened reality. At the time of its release, 300 brought something on a fight front that had never been seen in Hollywood. There had been nothing like it before. It was predominantly shot in front of a green or blue screen, which allowed the director to be able to extract the subject from the background and create all sorts of peculiar, specific, and dynamically isolated shots. He used a technique called time warp, where you can dramatically increase or decrease the speed of the action, where you could specifically direct the eye so that the director could show you exactly what he wanted you to see. It was such an incredible blend of these enormous macro wide shots where you have more action going on than your eye can absorb, combined with micro details of swords carving their way down helmets. The style and aesthetics were so influential that action films have been inspired by the techniques ever since. Fight choreographer Damon Caro with assistant Chad Stahelski basically invented a new style. They drew very heavily on their backgrounds from martial art, predominantly Eastern styles from Japan and Thailand, but threw in some Western techniques and really tried to imagine what the comic book panels from the source material would have looked like if they were in motion. The result is something truly original. It captures all the intensity and blood-pumping thrills that the graphic novel suggested. A combination of compelling action, zooms, time warp effect, slowing the action down and ramping it up created a very dynamic action experience that has proven both inspirational and unforgettable. Time to meet the class. Form up the phalanx. It's time for action. I felt the only way we could recreate the 300 experience was to shoot it in front of a green screen. We choreographed the fight, we started off slow like we always do, one move at a time, but unlike what we normally do, we created some unusual circumstances. We performed the fight in a few different ways. One, where we do it as if we are actually performing the fight in real time, how we would do it according to what a usual performance tempo would be. And then we tried one where we would physically replicate something similar to the time warp effects that are done in post-production in 300. At several points in the film, characters face off against opponents who are computer-generated or at least significantly altered with post-production techniques, so I wanted to simulate a similar experience for the class and also utilize some of the unique attributes of green screen photography. So we set up an experiment where students would fight independently in front of the green screen without their partner in the shot. And then later we would composite the shots together to see how well they actually mesh. This is something that you can't really do in real space. In addition to just combining the shots, it allows us to in some ways alter certain aspects of the performance. It doesn't matter in real life what the scale is like. Once you composite these characters together, you can do anything you want. You can make one person the size of a building and the other person just minuscule. So we tested it out with one person being twice the size of the other person and see how well we can match up targets and timing when the other person isn't really there to help us out. The final result was quite varied, and this is an extremely difficult thing to do. While this might be very different and very counterintuitive, it's not actually that unique of a performance experience. If you have to face off against opponents that don't really exist in the space, or for whatever reason, the post-production circumstances don't allow you to be in the same space at the same time, you have to really use your imagination to pull all those elements together in your mind to try to visualize what it's going to look like on the final screen to deliver the right performance. And it is a unique challenge, but these challenges are being increasingly imposed on actors as green screen becomes more popular as a filmmaking technique. One of the really awesome things about green screen production is since you don't really have to shoot the actors at the same time, it allows you to be in multiple shots that can subsequently be composited together. So if you really, for some reason, wanted to kick your own butt, kick my own butt, huh?
Tiny King, kneel before God King's justice.
Tonight, we die in Garde! Oh, crap.
I really had a great time on this lesson with the class. It was super fun to explore the green screen process and to experience the advantages and disadvantages of this style of production. And that is a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did, hit that like button. You can also show your support by subscribing. And if you really love us, we'd love you right back if you share this with all your friends. Share with your enemies too. I also encourage you to follow us on Facebook. You'll get to see all kinds of behind-the-scenes photos, and you can even interact with some of the class, our special guests, and of course, me. I'd love to hear what you think, and be sure to submit your suggestions for future episodes. We'd also like to extend an invitation to anyone in the Los Angeles area. Come and join us. We operate every Wednesday night out of Swordplay Studios in Burbank, California. All skill levels are welcome. And cut.